Hello, welcome to a demonstration of a new C++ framework from Touch Ideas. We'll show you a blog application that consists of blog entries that are displayed here, and each blog entry has its content and comments. We can also post a comment. Okay, let's show how we did this. Here we have two plain C++ classes. No modification is needed in order to work with them. Here we have a blog entry that has an ID, a title that is displayed here. Here we have a date that corresponds to time t created. We have all comments and vector with the classes blog entry comment that are here displayed, all 4 comments, and we have the content that is here, and the content is accessed through a function. The other properties are accessed directly. Our framework can work with any type of accessors, functions, directs, by value, by reference, const or not. And here we have the class blog entry comment that relates to these comments. We have the content that displays here. Okay, let's show how we did this. First we'll show the configuration XML needed. Here we have an application name in directory where it stores its files, a host, and will use precompiled headers throughout the application. Let's show the model. Here we have the entities: entity log entry and entity log entity comment. This is needed so we can relate the database to the C++ classes. Here we have a property name content, the type string, and we'll see here that the access is by a function, get content, set content. The other properties we don't have an access because they are directly accessed. Here we have the fetch profiles, which defines which properties are loaded or not from the database. Here we have the other entity, blog entry comment. Here we explicitly define the include name. Since we have both classes in the same header file, we have to check it here. Here we have the databases. We have a server on localhost, on database, and user and password. Next we'll see the controller that maps our requests to the code. Here we have a directory, a root directory that is here. On class myBlogController, we'll show that later. The command name index and the class method doIndex. This index is here. It's here to the command name index and the class method doIndex on class myBlogController. Okay. Here we have myBlogController doIndex, and let's put a breakpoint on that so we can check it out what happens. Here we create a query object on class blog entry. We'll set the order by the created, descending. We'll select here the fetch profile, no comments, that is, we don't want to load all comments. That is configured here. No comments. And now we'll select from the database all entries. Here we log our requests. We are in debug mode. As you can see, it logs the SQL queries. And now we'll execute the view with all the entries. We execute the view index. We have it here, index. As you can see, it's plain easy to write a view. It's a mix of HTML and custom tags. All we have to do is define the arguments that, like a function, it requires. Here we have an array of blog entry. We include another view file and we'll display it in a for each tag. It automatically generates the C++ code that is here. We can also put a breakpoint here after we execute this view. Okay. This code relates to the view mentioned here. For example, for each entry in entries, it's here. It automatically generates all the C++ code and asserts, etc., etc. Let's continue our request, and shows here. We ask a new request, it logged automatically the SQL query. And we'll do a breakpoint on entry to see what it does. Show entry. Let's load it another time so we can hit the breakpoint. Breakpoint hit. What we have here, we'll fetch a blog entry object from the request. As you can see, only the ID is set. It's guaranteed that we have a blog entry object from the request because, as you can see, we have here blog entry.id, and in our configuration we defined an argument of type a class, and the class is blog entry. It automatically generates all properties needed and serialize it to the request here. So in our code it's guaranteed that we have a blog entry request, a blog entry object from the request. We create a blog entry select query object here. We set the profile to fetch the comments. We configure it here with comments. It loads all as blog entry comment. We put an order by, and we select from the database one or null, because it cannot be, because it